and welcome to Tarmac. I'm Dave.
I'm Matthew, and today we're on a bit of a journey to Scotland because this behind us is the Toyota Highlander Hybrid Limited ZR.
That's right, it's the 4th generation Highlander and this is the top of the tree. Come, let's take a look at this one. Okay, so the Highlander first came into production around the year 2000 and now it's in its 4th generation. It's a big 7-seater SUV and boy, it's got a lot going on. Now this, I would be remiss to do a Highlander sort of review being a McLeod and not make reference to the fact that there can be only one. But in actual fact, there's actually 5 in the series, or 5 in the model lineup, and we've got the hybrid top of the line one. Looking a bit closer, the nose, look at this. I love this bonnet, particularly when you're looking out. This sort of anti-power dome, so it just has this big canal that looks right down. I really like it. It's very, very cool. The grille is unmistakably from the Toyota family. Look, it's just plops in with every one of them that's going on, and also it's got the blue Toyota logo here, so that makes you know that it's a hybrid, or certainly got some blue or some eco-friendly stuff going on. LED headlights, some chrome around here, and you know, it sits really high. There's plenty of garnish down the bottom here. Let's look around the side. For this 4th generation, Toyota have made the wheelbase 60mm longer and it's also 5mm wider, so it is more substantial as far as an SUV or 7-seater SUV goes. But I actually think it holds its sort of size quite well. I mean, it is big and chunky, but like I said, I think it slots in quite nicely. This one comes with 20-inch feet and also plenty of protective garnish all the way around, including these big solid running boards, which are possibly unnecessary, but I think they look cool as well. And also a nice big full-length sunroof along the top with some nice roof rails. Also comes with these protective sort of window vents here. It's got the hybrid badge because it is hybrid, and the rest of it, like I said, quite substantial. But the big thing, the big difference is this nice swoop across here. Look, it's such a lovely, distinctive, creative flow around here that really makes this back end sort of a little bit more bulbous. And you know how we like bulbous back ends. Let's look around the rear. So around here, a nice big roofline spoiler. You've got the nice blue Toyota badge, wraparound LED taillights, which is cool. Also the Highlander badge or Highlander writing. Also the model, of course. The exhaust is hidden right under the back here, which is, it does actually have some soot there. And also a kicker tailgate that gives you access to 242 litres of seat up or all seat up space, and also probably shed loads when you drop them all down and get rid of the 7 passengers that you've got inside. Let's take a look under the bonnet. Under here is a 4-cylinder 2.5 litre ICE engine and a battery powered electric motor. Together they give you a total power output of 142 kilowatts and also 242 newton meters. Digging a little bit deeper, the fuel economy is 5.6 litres per 100 kilometres and 128 grams per kilometre, which, come on, is pretty good for this size vehicle and 7 seats. Speaking of somebody who's pretty frugal with his emissions, Matthew's inside and he'll show you what's going on in there.
Normally you'd think people who drive these cars like to warm up the environment with their emissions, but not this one, this hybrid model. It's generally very good with its emissions and sort of eco-friendliness, if you like. And the same theme kind of echoes in the interior here. Yes, you do have leather seats because this is the premium, the limited ZR model. They are actually very nice, heated and ventilated too. The dashboard is covered in a nice soft plastic, a little bit of contrast stitching going on there as well. And you get some more faux leather running through the middle there. Apart from that, you'll notice that there's a lot of wood highlighting going on in the center console and the doors, but again, it's faux wood, so it does have that look and that sort of polished finish, but it's eco-friendly. And that's generally the theme with Toyota's blue badge. It's meant to be not just good on carbon, but all around it's meant to be eco-friendly. General fit and finish of the interior is actually really good. Stuff you push, it's all screwed in well, and that typical Toyota build quality that we've come to know the brand for all these years. Obviously, this is a big 7-seater family SUV, so you get a plethora of storage spaces all around. You get that cubby over there, you get a nice sizable glove box there, you get storage space up here with a little hole to run your charging cable through. You get space for your phone over there, you get these 2 cup holders, you get this center armrest bin, you get massive door bins. I mean, just storage space everywhere. It's amazing. This is the limited ZR model, so you do get this very nice panoramic sunroof as well, which goes all the way down to almost the 3rd row, so lets in plenty of light into this cabin, which is filled with light anyway with those big windows. Really good for making people not sick on long road trips. Another new feature with this 2021 Highlander is the upgraded infotainment screen, so let's take a quick look there. As you can see here, Toyota's infotainment screen is mounted on the dash there, but it doesn't stick out. It kind of moves in with the design language, so that's pretty cool. The big deal about this one is that it's got the exclamation mark JBL audio system, so it is something to get excited about, because you've got 11 speakers in here and a big subwoofer in the back, and it definitely makes this whole big car feel like a concert hall. Very nice, actually. And a nice little chip to have on your shoulder is the fact that JBL does the audio systems for Ferrari, so there you go. The infotainment screen itself is very easy to use. This is the home screen. You've got your navigation, Bluetooth connection, and of course your audio input, and everything is sort of laid out with buttons nice and simply, because of course we love buttons and we love their simplicity and their familiarity. An interesting little gauge is here, that tells you sort of who's wearing their seatbelt across all the back seats, so something interesting for the driver to know. Another thing that gives the driver a lot of inputs is of course the digital dashboard, so let's take a look at that. So in front of this leather steering wheel, you've got of course your speedometer and the fuel meter on the right, and then of course on the left you've got that famous charge meter that's seen on all Toyota's hybrids. So it goes between charge, eco and power, and gives you a good breakdown of sort of what's your usage of the engine and the hybrid powertrain. Really a nerd fest actually, and you can even dive further into that with the screen that we've got in front of us there. So it's actually got the battery usage meter on the back, it's got the engine in the front, and a diagram to show where the power is going in terms of the wheels. Really smart thinking there. And you can of course flick through the menus with the buttons on the left side of your steering wheel. Keep going up and you can see your audio and your adaptive cruise control and digital speedometer and all that sort of stuff. And if you keep flicking through, you'll see your fuel economy. So right now we're doing 7.8 liters per 100 kilometers. Not quite the claimed range, but we're getting there. And interestingly, after every trip you finish, the Highlander will give you an eco score. It measures your start off, your cruising, your stops, and then tells you how much fuel and how wasteful you've been, basically. Who knew a car could judge you? Well, that's what we're in 2021 for, right? And before we take it for a drive and let the car judge us a bit more, let's hop into the back seat and actually give the car some judgment. Firstly, you'll notice here just how much space I have. I mean, I'm just under 6 feet. This seat is as far back as it can go, and just look at the knee room there, the foot room I have, the headroom, despite the fact that there's a sunroof here and those batteries for the hybrid powertrain are actually under this 2nd and 3rd row. So not only am I seated higher up, but this roof needs to be a bit more, it needs to have a bit more depth because of the sunroof, but still look at the amount of space I have there. Just amazing. There's no transmission tunnel in the middle as well, so you could easily seat 3 people across the back here. The space, I mean, you can have the armrest down and comfortably seat 2 adults, or frankly 3. Another cool feature is that you can pop these up for those sunnier days. You've got your sunshades there, and when you filled up this middle row, there's always a heap of room in the back with easy access. But enough about all this sort of stuff. This is the hybrid model, it's a limited ZR, so let's take it for a drive.
Okay, so the first thing you'll notice when you switch on this hybrid is no vroom noise. Literally just comes on, everything flicks up and you're ready to go. Quite cool. Flick in this eCVT, so electronic CVT, which is normally I'd be really down on a CVT, but this one seems to pick up quite nicely. And then away you go. In comes the 2.5 litre and you're off. it's seamless. The switch between ICE and hybrid is so good, or ICE and electric is so good. Absolutely seamless, and away you go in this big 7-seater.
I think CVTs are one of those things where they work really well in some instances and don't work that well in others, but in a hybrid powertrain they seem to work really well in whatever Toyota have done with them, and it manages the switch between the powertrains very seamlessly, as Dave said. And in fact, there's a button down here which allows you to switch between eco, normal and sport mode, and in eco mode actually it'll just hold on to the hybrid power or the electric power a little bit more.
Yeah, and sport, I mean, okay, sport in a wagon this size is a bit of a stretch. The V6 is really quite powerful, but this, look, it's not shabby, not too shabby, but it's not what you call sporty. Getting the basics out of the way, seating position, literally it's wonderful. There's so many positions for your seat with the electronic seating adjustments here. Visibility is quite massive. When you do pop up those rear seats, the headrests do compromise a little bit, but I mean it's quite a long way back there. There's a lot of room. Big wing mirrors, and you know, the dials so visible, including the instrument cluster and also the infotainment screen. So everything's really where you want it and then some, and it does beep a lot.
Everything in this car is sort of supersized, right from the wheels to the sunroof and just how much space you have in here. And it does get quite scared in narrow places like drive-thrus and all that stuff. It doesn't like when things come too close to the front or the back, or even if you veer, you know, close to the lanes. It doesn't like that. It will let you know about all those things. And in fact, when you're reversing and the camera is beeping and you're getting closer and closer to the wall, at some point it'll actually apply the brakes for you and not let you go any further. So it does take, I guess, good care of its appearance. It doesn't want any scratches or dings on it,
which is a good thing, and it is quite a big vehicle too. I think it would be easy to scratch and ding it, even going through drive-thrus where you've got 1,000 people that you need to feed, because you've got plenty of room to feed 1,000 people. Anyway, on the subject of safety, it does have Toyota's big safety suite, which is really good, but it's also got curve slow control, or there's probably a word for it. I'll see if I can flash that up. But essentially what you've got, when you've got an adaptive cruise control, if you're going too fast into a corner, it will take all the speed out of it for you. So you're actually driving around the bend right, quite casually. It just reduces all this thing, so you're not thrown around, which is, you know, as is what I normally want to do in a sport mode. Personally, I think it takes too much or brushes off too much speed, but you know, that's it's a personal thing.
In terms of handling, it's not actually that bad. A car this big, this long, and this high up, you'd expect it to go moving around like a land yacht at every instance, but it just doesn't do that. It is pretty well planted for a car like this, and it's actually, you know, steering this thing should feel like you're steering something large, but it just doesn't. I mean, you can turn the steering wheel with one hand or one finger as well if you're strong enough, and it just goes. It's just mind-boggling to think about how easy it is to maneuver in and out of traffic. Probably too easy, which is why it does beep at you a lot.
You're right about the handling. It's pretty good for a vehicle this size. In all honesty though, I've driven the V6, and this is a little bit bouncy in the rear end, especially when you go onto some of New Zealand's unfinished roads, of which there are plenty. It is a bit bouncy. You tend to get a bit of a bouncy bum. I don't, that's a technical term, by the way.
I think something like 70% of the country's roads are actually unsealed. It's some sort of crazy number like that, but generally in and around towns and speed breakers, the Highlander tends to eat them up really well, and I guess the soft floaty suspension is good for those sort of things.
But while you're on the subject of actually percentages, I think 85% of Toyota Highlander purchasers are opting for a hybrid, and that's a really good thing. There's so much fuel economy in this. This is crazy to have such good fuel economy on something that's this size.
And not only that, it's actually Toyota's most powerful hybrid SUV ever. So it's not that it's lacking on power, and frankly, driving the 3.5 liter V6, you do notice that it does get a bit thirsty on fuel, and you've got to give it to it. It's a big engine, big car. What can you expect? But this hybrid powertrain just takes that ease off a little bit and gives you some crazy figures in terms of the fuel efficiency.
Personally, I find this a really nice upmarket drive. I think, as Matthew pointed out earlier, the fitting and finishing is really good. And I don't know, it just gives you a sense of, I mean, you are lording over people, but it just has a nice finish to it. Love the big display here. There's buttons everywhere, and I think it would take me a while to really get to know what's going on. But the information, it comes at you everywhere. And having that JBL system for sound, I am in a Ferrari. Oh yeah.
It does definitely feel like a nerd fest, and hybrid cars tend to, I guess, appeal to that kind of buyer. But frankly, this is the sensible choice. It makes perfect sense to go for a car of this size and have that kind of fuel efficiency as well.
Yeah, even though Highlander would have you say there is only one, this is actually the one. So there you have it, the 2021 Toyota Highlander. The hybrid model is the one to go for, as we said, but it's really refined, it's really refreshed, it's bigger, it's bolder, it's more technical. There's just so much more going on.
It's really got all the space you need for your, I guess, junior rugby team, and all the ground clearance you need for those 70% of New Zealand's unsealed roads. It really is the New Zealand family SUV.
It is. I'm going to go and get a family now or something. Anyway, thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe. It is around here somewhere. And ring that bell as well. There's a bell or something. I don't know what that means. But anyway, join us on the next one. Cheers.
See ya.